tuning in with ENCHANTRESS. That's me, the BABBLER, that's me, on this freestyle spree. Because it is nighttime for me at this moment in time, and I just figured, what the hell, hit record sometime. So I always sometimes just want to like go live or like invite you guys into just some creative storms and stuff like that. Just sometimes, you know, things be a type of way, you know, when we're in our own, you know, space of a place that, you know, can be welcoming and flowing, and it's energy, you see. And so I'm sharing this in every kind of way with you guys, the best way that I can possibly do for myself and for you. So I hit record, if that makes sense too. That's what Pop would do. Anyways, but I just wanted to because I did say I was going to record a little bit and talk some about polar opposites and stuff like that, but there's a lot of things I'm prepping for. Like I said, it's my daughter's birthday tomorrow, so please do stay tuned, because I do have lots to say, especially about the my own relationship with Geminis in my life. And it's crazy too, because, you know, I've always been into astrology since I can speak. I've always been reading. Like I said, I didn't have many toys growing up, so books I did have, and for whatever reason my grandma had a grand collection of wonderful books. And you know, there's libraries, and there's just, you know, dictionaries and thesauruses and word finder, and understanding of everything is me. So, you know, I guess I've just been studying for a very long time. And so anyways, astrology has always been one of my favorites of all time. Astronomy, started with astronomy and make my way into astrology. So I've always been into since elementary school, but not as heavy, because I started getting heavier towards the end of, not so heavy. And when I mean by heavy, I mean by where I needed to know everyone's birthday, even though I knew everyone's birthday, because for whatever reason that has always just been important, like, you know, to know these things about other people. It wasn't until like junior high school definitely, like, what's your sign, when's your birthday? Like, I stopped even asking people what was their sign. I would just ask them what was their birthday. But then, you know, people get hip with that, you know, years later, and they're like, why? So you can know my sign? Oh, you think you into that? And, you know, all that kind of stuff, and, you know, judgment at that. Has nothing to do with that. But you know what? Break it down, no matter the belief and stuff like that, and structure. It's the structure of conditioning in our lives at this time. So regardless if it has been imposed or conditioned in some kind of way into our system, infiltrated into our systems, which everything that we know to be has been infiltrated into our systems based off of a conditioning of an environment that has been cycled on over and over and over and over, and not changed, evolutionized, yes, in technological ways that gets people, you know, just like outside of their own waves, looking externally at all these, you know, evolutionary things that are created, you see, as these instructions that be, because that's how it be. But we're not getting into that, you see, so that's not what I'm trying to talk about at this time. Okay, guys, stop trying to distract me. What was I saying? But just, yeah, so regardless of what you choose to believe, and whether you want to learn about these kind of things, but if you're here, you are interested in these kind of things for the most part, you know what I mean? How much weight you hold to it, again, you know, that's our levels. And believe me, a lot of the things that I've been working on within me too, to see the growth in me too, which is something I'm gonna have to break down too, for just some clarity for us all and stuff like that. I'm just writing this down because I don't want to forget about that one either. It's just I'm forgetting as I'm writing. So anyways, no, but is, what was I gonna say? That is not funny. That is not funny. But yeah, this is what happens. This is, you know, and then they'll be like, oh, you know, it's because of, you know what? But you know what? So what? But it's coming back because I already wrote clarity down here on the piece of paper. But let me just get my composure, because I really truly did like forget for a second, and the more that I keep on babbling, the more that it just keeps overflowing out of sea. But you know what? You gotta learn how to swim out. So, yeah. What was I saying? I was speaking about the polarities. Welcome into my babbles in this environment. What was I saying? Oh, that's at 555. Give me a moment to just reconnect with my thoughts at this time. Distractions, they do it to me. Of course, the moment I stopped the recording, I recall what it is that I was trying to say. So part of the process for what's been going on for me to be able to articulate better, which I'm not going to get into that kind of that chat at this moment in time, because that's not what this one is about. It's just understanding the understanding of the inner understanding of a lot of things that resonate for me as some level of actuality that resonates and is understood by me on whatever level of perception and understanding that I have on whatever it is that I am beginning to understand, comprehend, perceive, evolve further and expand in. It's also in the release of that too, which is something that can be difficult to do, especially if you're holding on to a certain truth that just resonates with you, because you gotta understand that here on these lands, all of this shit is made up, man. You know what I mean? So getting to these things that resonate for me, with me, but the weight, you see, that's where I was at before. The weight that weighs, that ain't no floating waves of elevation and, you know, evolution. Because anything heavy, it gets brought back down onto, you know, these lands that are made up, man. So, I mean, but that's another story in itself. But, yeah, so I do want to get into, you know, just even the topic of how important understanding your polar opposite sign is. Like, mine is Gemini because I'm a Sagittarius, but that's my Earth Sun sign. Because we're more than that, because even though she and I are polar, like me and my daughter, like we're polar opposites, like Sun, Earth sign, Gemini, Sagittarius, our moons are a little harmonious and more nurturing and together. Meet my Pisces moon with her Cancer moon. You know what I'm saying? And there are other signs that go into the buildup of our relationship that can explain a lot of things that do correlate, you know, for whatever it is. Like, you know, on these made up lands, astrology is pretty dope, man, especially if you break down and figure out your birth time and do the charts and have, you know, these all-knowing, where do they come from, you know, information systems that tell you about you and how you do what you do and why you do what you do and all this other stuff that be like, oh my god, this is so true, right? It resonates with you. So yeah, so I'm excited about that, and so inspired in I'm getting, come on, she licked me. This is the kind of ball buster stuff I be telling you that these Geminis create. It just feels disgusting. Like, I don't understand why I gotta deal with this all of the time. She'll come and lick me. But anyways, that's not what this is about. But it is about her and celebrating her and her earthly crash on these lands. In honor of my goddess, man. For may she continue to evolve and transcend and inspire and understand and inner command and inner let go, inner know, inner love, inner strength, inner breath, inner compassion, inner purpose, inner empathy, everything. Bountiful, and even letting go of those words and those expectations that one may feel from being burdened with their parents' dreams for them in their own lives to be. I want her to be whatever she needs to be for herself. Supportive, that's health, wealth, stuff. As her parent, as her mother, you see. Understanding that each one of us needs that. For it's one practice of being free. May we all be met and gifted with such love and grace in this darkness that we must face. For out of the darkness emerges light. And you know what? And you know how? And you know why, guys? Because in the darkness we're doing shit. And when you come bursting forth out into the light, for out of the darkness emerges light. It's because in the darkness, whatever it is that we needed to come to get through, to go through, to rise up in rebirth, man, this feeling of, for I have risen, that feeling comes from the motherfucking darkness. And we afraid of what? The perception, the illusion of darkness you see, but in the dark, we come out and free. We need this yin and yang. But anyways, I'm excited. So I want to talk more about that because let me tell you, Geminis have been my, when I say chokehold of a sign, that I had to deal with in this life, and I wanted to pound out a few of them in my life. And one of the girls that drove me insane for all of my days in my elementary school days was a Gemini. Troublemaker was she, always getting me into fights, you see, running her mouth unnecessarily. So, you know, I've had these like power dynamic. Leo, what about Psycho? Psycho, let's not forget about Psycho, Gemini. But anyways, see what I mean? And then of course my child, the birthing seed, Gemini. It's just funny. So yes, stay tuned for chats on polar opposites, my friends. And when you tune in for these chats, make sure that you know what sign is your polar opposite too. We'd love to engage with you. Namaste. Have a glorious, marvelous, happy Memorial Day weekend 2018, or this is timeless, you see, even if you get this in 2020. Timeless for the message. May it resonate with you, mind, body, heart, and soul, spirit. Let it take hold. I'm gonna look like a hot tamale tomorrow because everybody be like, you guys, that's your daughter? Like, yeah, you guys look like sisters. Thanks. Send my DNA. Namaste.